Welcome to another episode of The Quest for Self. I'm your host, Allie, and I want to thank you so much for being with me here today. Today, I'm talking about the subtle but powerful difference between being visible and being truly known. The difference that, in my opinion, changes everything. Imagine going out to an event. Maybe one of your favorite DJs is playing. You think the night's going to be fun, maybe even random, but instead, it ends up teaching you something powerful about what it really means to be seen. Not for your looks, not for attention, but for who you are. Because at the end of the day, we all crave to be seen. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, do I want to be seen or do I want to be understood? And that's what we're diving into today. And the truth is, most of us confuse those two without even realizing it. I mean, we all want to be seen. It's something natural. It makes us feel like we matter, like what we bring into the world actually lands somewhere. But sometimes we chase being seen for the wrong reasons, for being pretty, successful, charismatic, accomplished, the one who stands out in the room. And if we're honest, this usually comes from deeper wounds, from times when we didn't feel acknowledged, validated, or recognized when we were younger and we needed to. It's that inner child whispering, notice me, tell me I'm enough. And that desire, it could show up in the most unexpected places, which brings me to what happened the other night. So, I went to a DJ set recently with a friend. The whole space was alive. Lights flashing, bodies moving, the bass vibrating through every inch of the room. It was just a fun day. At one point during the night, I ended up right next to the DJ, like literally less than an arm's length away. People were dancing all around me. The sound was bumping so loud, it felt like it was inside of me. I called his name. He looked over and smiled, and I swear to you, I smiled back like a 12-year-old, like someone who had just been chosen. For a moment, I felt that little hit of validation and that I got his attention buzz. And I was just dancing there, soaking up the music until I looked around me. Girls everywhere doing the same thing, performing, trying to be noticed. And in that moment, even with the speakers blasting in my ear, I was like, everything went silent. I remember asking myself, what the hell am I even doing? Do I seriously want some sort of validation that bad? That rush, those looks and smiles and micro interactions with him, it all faded almost immediately. And that's when it clicked. Being seen is a high, not fulfillment. And the funny thing is, the same day before all of this happened, I experienced the complete opposite kind of moment. A moment that didn't give me a rush. It actually gave me depth. And that contrast, it showed me everything. So earlier that day, I'd met up with a friend of mine, one that I hadn't seen in months, probably like 6 months. We caught up on life, parents aging, moving back home, the weight of responsibility mixed with trying to still be your own person. And in that conversation, something settled inside me. I genuinely felt understood. Not seen for how I looked, not seen for my energy or my presence, but understood for what I was actually feeling. And honestly, thinking back, that stayed with me long after that conversation ended. That's when I realized being understood hits so differently. It's not attention, it's recognition, emotional recognition. When somebody understands you, your contradictions, your fears, your logic, your softness, it creates this sort of safety. And that kind of being seen doesn't fade the way a cute DJ smile does. So here's the truth: being seen is visibility, being understood, it's intimacy. One feeds the ego, the other feeds the soul. And here's the contrast I want you to feel: being seen is a spotlight, bright, exciting, but temporary. Spotlights turn off. Being understood is like sunlight, warm, steady, always there. Sure, some days are brighter than others, but that warmth is constant. It stays with you. And we forget that because in a world obsessed with visibility, likes, views, followers, status, we're conditioned to chase the spotlight. But the spotlight will always go out. Sunlight always remains day after day. And here's the thing: understanding this difference is powerful, but living from it is a whole other level. So let me ask you a question. How do you start shifting from chasing validation to creating real connection? Let's talk about that. I think one of the first things is acknowledging it. I mean, awareness at the end of the day, awareness is everything. Pay attention to the moments that give you that instant high versus the moments that actually ground you. Take a moment and ask yourself, have I ever felt hurt by not being seen? Have I ever felt fulfilled by being understood? Contrast those moments. Your body knows the difference before your mind does. For me, being seen feels like a dopamine spike. Being understood feels like nourishment. Secondly, notice your patterns. Where are you performing? Where are you actually connecting? Ask yourself, what am I hoping to get out of this interaction? Is it feeding my confidence or feeding my insecurity? Am I trying to be noticed or to be known? Journaling helps. It's emotional clarity on paper. Thirdly, heal what drives the need for validation. Most unnecessary validation that usually comes from empty spaces we're still carrying, spaces where we were overlooked, maybe our younger self, moments we were misunderstood, or moments where we were maybe not fully accepted. Therapy helped me see the difference between my ego reacting and my soul calling for healing. Because the truth is, no one can validate you into wholeness. That work is all yours. Fourth, shift from attention to connection. When you catch yourself seeking to be seen, pause. Ask yourself, what if instead of wanting someone to notice me, I focused on understanding someone else? That shift honestly transforms everything. Connection grows. insecurity shrinks. And ironically, when you truly see others, you end up feeling more seen too. At the end of the day, we live in a world that teaches us to chase being seen, to shine, to stand out, to be visible. But the real transformation happens when we focus on actually being understood, because that's where connection is. That's where growth is. That's where peace begins. So, here's your challenge for this week. I want you to notice one moment where you're chasing being seen. Pause. Ask yourself, am I looking for attention or am I looking for connection? Because when you start choosing connection, first with yourself and then with others, the need for validation starts to naturally fade. And that's when you finally step out of the spotlight and into the sunlight. Thanks so much for watching this episode of The Quest for Self. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to follow, like, share, comment, and subscribe. It would mean the world. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media, The Quest for Self.